It really was kind of a fluke how I ended up going to Honduras. I just went to a back-to-school night at the high school, and the Spanish teacher mentioned that she would like to take a group of Spanish-speaking students. And I wanted to go. I considered it to be like going on a safari. I rarely go anywhere, and I signed myself and my daughter up, and we ended up going, and we had a wonderful experience. And as the date got closer, I learned more about it. We were going to an orphanage. All of the children in the orphanage were in one way or another affected by HIV. The first time Anna and I mainly worked in town, which was a lot of fun because we were able to interact with people in the community. A lot of people were curious about what we were doing, and our project was to help build a store in town. And we unloaded 5,000 very hot bricks that just came from the brick factory, and had quite a bit of fun doing that project. But when we left the orphanage, I turned and I looked at the teenage girls that were there, and I saw how the little kids ran up to us and were very affectionate and open and were not holding back emotionally at all. But when I looked at those teenage girls, I realized how many times they see people come and go in their lives, the losses that they've had. And I really felt terrible because I realized that even though I have two healthy teenage daughters myself, I had made very little effort to get to know these girls. And I really made a promise to myself at that time that if I ever returned, my goal would be to connect with at least one teenage girl. And 2 years later, I did. I tried to use a little bit of Spanish. I tried to make eye contact with the older children. I didn't spend all of my free time with the little ones. And the first girl that I was able to have a conversation with was Laura. As a result of my second trip to Honduras, I ended up sponsoring Laura. And nothing makes me happier than when I get a letter in the mail, and I've gotten several. I like this one that she sent me because it says, "Tú eres muy bonita." I think she's muy bonita also. And she just was easy to talk to. She made me laugh. I made her laugh. And I really enjoyed this holiday season picking out some clothes for her that I know she will get to wear, something new, something that wasn't handed down, and something that my kids probably would take for granted. It sounds a little hokey, but I feel like I have been able to make a connection with someone who lives so far away, who has a completely different lifestyle than I do, but yet I guess I feel in the communications and letters that I get from her that we do have a significant relationship. And it feels good to me to be able to help her, even though she's so far away, and I may only see her once a year. So the second time we went to Honduras, I went with my daughter Anna and my second daughter Erica. And I really had some trepidation about that. I was aware of exactly what the trip entailed. I was aware of the emotional toll it takes on someone to see the poverty, to see children begging in the streets. And I guess I felt a little bit protective of her. On our second trip, it was mostly a painting project. I worked with a group of women who painted a chapel, which looks marvelous, by the way, and my daughters worked on the mural that is now in the dining hall, the fruits and vegetables. So that was a little bit less laborious. It still was a lot of work, but it was a nice project because we were able to see the entire project from beginning to end. The third trip is my favorite trip because my whole family went, and I felt like my husband had been extremely patient in listening to us and talking about these children, and the fact that he was willing to go was really wonderful. When we were there, Ed helped build a terraced wall to expand the garden that is at Montana De Luz. It was kind of exciting because they unearthed some tarantulas. One night, this was kind of funny, we had lost power and it was completely dark. We were just sitting in the dining hall. It gets dark very early in Honduras, so it was maybe 7 in the evening, pitch dark, and a young girl who was on our trip, about 14 years old, came out of the bathroom and in a very calm voice said, "Could somebody kill the spider in the bathroom?" And of course we all ran in to see, and it was a very, very large tarantula. And Ed picked up a very large stone and started hammering away at the floor. He took out some of the wall, he might have broken some tiles on the floor, but after about 5 whacks and seeing the tarantula lunge toward us and the 6 of us flew out of the bathroom knocking each other over, he was able to kill it. So for one day, Ed Jackson was a hero in Honduras. It was just a very heartwarming experience to see that despite having what used to be an incurable illness, children can be children, have a great time, entertain adults like myself, and for an evening kind of leave their worries and cares aside, and us leave our typical everyday worries and cares aside, and just spend a fun evening having a talent show. But the best part, and every service team will tell you this, is the time in the afternoon when the children are done with their schoolwork and we are done with our project for the day, and there's time to interact with the children, with the tias and tios, and really spend time just connecting with the people of Honduras. There are people on this earth that don't have a safety net. You know, we came back to the United States, and I can honestly say there are days my kids do not want to empty the dishwasher. They want to watch TV. They're typical teenagers. But my daughter Anna went from someone who was really interested in the latest iPod and became someone who this Christmas sent me an email and said, "I'm buying shoes for Anwar and Junior." She has no income. She has maybe $50 on her debit card, but she wants to buy shoes for someone who lives in a country where there is no safety net. There is no government agency that you can go to. There is no charity newsies. There are no people collecting donations for orphans. We don't really have traditional orphanages in this country, but there are orphanages all over the world.